Hello, and welcome to a special edition of the news at Williamsville Junior High School. I'm Nathan.
And I'm Trevor. And we're here to celebrate the 206th birthday of Abraham Lincoln.
And the 10th birthday of the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Museum.
And to start our show, we will be playing the Abraham Lincoln quiz game.
How many children did Abraham Lincoln have?
4.
4. Okay. And
do you know their names?
No.
okay.
Kentucky Fried
Who
Chicken.
assassinated Abraham Lincoln?
John Wilkes Booth.
And where was Lincoln assassinated?
Ford's Theater.
And what was John Wilkes Booth's occupation?
He was an actor.
An actor.
What was his nickname?
Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln. In your opinion, what was Lincoln most famous for?
His tallness.
His tallness.
How many children did he have?
I have no idea.
Do you know any of their names?
Actually, I think he had 3.
Okay. And their names?
I don't know.
Do you know what famous monument has his face and the faces of 3 other presidents on it?
Mount Rushmore?
Mount Rushmore?
In your opinion, what is Lincoln most famous for?
Freeing the slaves?
Freeing the slaves.
And can you name his most famous speech?
The Gettysburg Address.
Hello, we're here with
Mr. Compardo, 7th grade social studies teacher at Williamsville Junior High School.
to ask him a few questions about Abraham Lincoln. First question, how many children did Abraham Lincoln have?
He had 4, I believe.
Okay.
And do you know their names?
I know that Todd was one, maybe Billy, and that might be the only 2 I know.
Todd and Billy. What was Abraham Lincoln's nickname?
Honest Abe, or the Rail Splitter, either one.
And what famous monument was his face on, along with the faces of 3 other presidents?
That would be Mount Rushmore, I
Mount
believe.
Rushmore. In your opinion, what is Lincoln most famous for?
I would say for freeing the slaves, Emancipation Proclamation, obviously.
Yep. And can you name his most famous speech?
Probably the Gettysburg Address.
Well, it looks like they know some things about Abraham Lincoln, but I bet some could use a refresher.
So let's head over to Robbie and Zoe to get a biography about Abraham Lincoln.
I'm Robbie.
And I'm Zoe, and here is the true short story of Lincoln's life.
Abraham Lincoln was born February 12, 1809, in Kentucky. He was the son of Thomas and Nancy Hanks Lincoln.
When he was 7, the family moved to southern Indiana. Growing up, Lincoln loved reading and preferred learning to working in the fields.
He attended school with his older sister. His brother Thomas had already died during infancy.
His mother later died of milk sickness in 1818. His father then married Sarah Bush Johnson, who Abraham loved.
Abraham spent less than 12 months in formal school, and he did not attend college at all. He taught himself to become a lawyer.
In Springfield in 1839, he met Mary Todd. They married 3 years later and had 4 children: Robert, Edward, William, and Thomas.
Lincoln became a successful attorney, and the family bought a home in Springfield in 1844.
Lincoln was elected our nation's 16th president in 1860. Later in his presidency, the Civil War broke out.
On Good Friday, April 14, 1865, the Lincolns went to a play called Our American Cousin at Ford's Theater.
During the play, John Wilkes Booth arrived at the theater and shot the president in the back of the head at about 10:15 p.m.
He passed away the next day at 7:22 a.m. This was the first presidential assassination in our nation's history.
Thanks for the interesting bio of Lincoln. I'm Ariel.
And I'm Jacob.
we will be talking about one of Lincoln's most famous speeches, the Gettysburg Address.
Lincoln delivered the Gettysburg Address on November 19, 1863 at Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, 4 months after one of the bloodiest battles in the Civil War had occurred there.
The main speaker, Edward Everett, spoke for about 2 hours, but Lincoln's speech only lasted a few minutes. In fact, it was only 10 sentences long.
In these few minutes, Lincoln reminded the audience of the sacrifices of Americans' forefathers, and also those who had died there on the battlefield.
Lincoln's speech was so perfect that Everett requested a copy of it from Lincoln himself. One thing you may not know is that the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Library and Museum owns one of the few remaining original copies of this address.
Now let's move on to hear about Lincoln's time spent here in Springfield, Illinois.
Hello there, I'm Will.
And I'm Evan.
Abraham Lincoln and Springfield, Illinois go hand in hand. Lincoln lived in Springfield from 1837 until 1861.
Springfield is where he met and married his wife, bought a home, and raised his family.
After his death in Washington on April 15, 1865, Lincoln's body was returned to Springfield and buried at Oak Ridge Cemetery.
This year marks the 150th anniversary of his assassination, and in honor of that, there will be a reenactment of Lincoln's funeral procession from the train station in Springfield to the cemetery.
The reenactment will include specially built replicas of the funeral hearse and the American flag draped over the coffin, as well as a horse-drawn carriages. There will be a candlelight vigil overnight on May 2nd.
And the funeral procession will begin mid-morning on May 3rd, ending at the old receiving vault in Oak Ridge Cemetery.
Hello, I'm Ethan.
And I'm Nathan, and this year is the 10th birthday of the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Museum.
This museum opened April 19th, 2005, and since then, hundreds of thousands of people have visited each year.
You can find the museum in downtown Springfield, Illinois. When you visit, you can see lifelike figures of the Lincolns, some of their personal belongings, and precious Lincoln artifacts.
In addition, there are fantastic daily performances in 2 different theaters.
It's also Abraham Lincoln's birthday today, February 12th.
He died at the age of 56 on April 15th, 1865. If Lincoln were still alive today, he would be 206 years old.
So happy birthday to the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Museum, and happy birthday, President Lincoln.
Thanks for being an important part of our great nation's history.
Happy birthday, President Lincoln!